Morning, YouTube. This is my first built reloading bench. It stands 42 inches high. It is 5 feet long. It's got one homemade shelf already that my dad had made years ago for a magazine rack, but somebody in the house decided they were going to throw it out. I decided to use it. It's built tall enough to store a little college fridge or mini fridge, whatever you want to call it, bar fridge. What's in there is water, a little bit of fishing bait, and some, what do they call it, stuff there. Glucerna. I'm going to call it something else, but it tastes like crap. But if I get busy out here and forget to eat, I can have one of those. I'm gonna get that thing wiped out, which ain't a big deal. Of course, my primer catch bucket. Up here is where I mount all my presses. Use 1/4-inch bolts and just run it straight through the table and bolt them down so they don't move. I'll show you that setup once I get the camera on the stand over there. But I don't know, I think it's, for what I got in it, I think I got $22 in it. The 4x4 lumber was scrapped for the legs. Came off an old swing that was going to be thrown out, that my sister had gave to my mother and father for an anniversary present. The actual frame here, that was built by my father and was just left sitting there, just a frame. These slats here, they're for a bunk bed actually, that my kids had early in their life, that my father had kept for some reason. I just cut it down and found use for it that way. Like I said, these 4x4 posts were off a swing, but they're holding up well, seem to be doing nice. Let me set you over here on this camera stand so y'all quit shaking and wanting to puke. This tripod really doesn't do it justice because I can't get back far enough on it. I'm going to shine in here. You'll see how tall this table stands once I get in front of it here. I'm 5'9". Okay. So that stands pretty much a good waist high. I was going to go with a 39 inch or even a 36 inch table. But I'm going to be honest with you. With my medical conditions, for me, standing is better than sitting. It's also an excellent relief on my lower back instead of that sitting all the time. Type 2 diabetes, things are getting under control, but I notice that if I do more standing instead of sitting, this table aids that. Plus I'm hooked up to a heart monitor. If I need to take a break, I can just lean right into the table and steady myself if I should get dizzy or whatever. I mean, 39 inch or 36 inch, great height. Don't misjudge me. I'm not saying you do either or. This is why I did the 42 inch tabletop. It's 41. Leg length is 41. With the 3/4 inch plywood top, it's almost 42 inches tall. So, I mean, minus 1/4 of an inch. It really doesn't make that much of a difference. But it's easier if you're hammering something up here than as opposed to, for me. Somebody else may have a difference of opinion. You're entitled to it, just like I am mine. But it is 5 feet long, 32 inches high, has that brack shelf in there. It's made out of old bunk bed, my kid's bunk bed, that they got too big for. I just used the wood slats off it and cut it down to the length I needed it. Applied screws, and hey, it's a shelf. The legs, as I explained maybe in an earlier video that I might or might not have posted, the legs come from a gift that my sister gave my mother and my father for an anniversary gift. My father's no longer with us. The swing and the 2x4s themselves kind of rotted out from being out in the weather. The 4x4 legs stood absolutely almost immaculate. Some cracking in them, but not, detrimental. So I took them, I cut them down to the size I needed, and that's what I'm using. I know this is probably going to be a long-winded video, but it's 4x4 legs. We all know that's 2x8 center, or 2x8 stringers. I got 3 of them in there. This goes right to the 2x8. That ain't gonna move even if I put a press on it and bolt it down with one bolt. That's not moving. That press isn't moving. I don't care which one I use. When I kind of build this stuff, like my dad, I want it to hold together and get me a little bit. I'd like to get 20 years out of the table. I might. It might have to come apart and be moved, but, rebuild or something, of course, but that'll be in the future, or maybe just make a new one for the new place. I don't know. But I do like it. There is some sentimental value to it. Like I said, the bottom shelf comes from my kid's bunk bed. The actual frame was made by my father before he passed. And the 4x4 legs come off a swing given to my parents for an anniversary. Repurposing I kind of made fun of, but now that I see all the nostalgia and all the memories and every component that put this table together, repurpose, recycle, you choose, therefore you are responsible. Out. Drill bit. Just the right size. I'll be dusting it on this, definitely not the right length. We'll see. That time it was. Oh yeah. too. Barely, but. I'll be honest with you. That's all I need. Hold on one minute. On YouTube, my rock solid bench mounting. When I mean by rock solid, I mean I did it. Just an old cut of 3/4 inch plywood. Good 6-inch carriage bolt running through the holes in the press. Okay, and it's bolted down. Those presses aren't going anywhere. No, I don't mount both of them at the same time. I do it this way for a quick strip. Let me show you what I mean by that. There we go. This way I can work with one press or the either. Or if I need the extra table room, these carriage bolts run through 2 3/4 sheets of plywood and a 2x8. That's underneath the table. That's why I went so long. I guess I could have gone with a 4-inch, but I do like the 6-inch. It's a little easier. Once I get them mounted with the 4-inch, if this thing rocks back, the 4 inches are going to pull right out if I don't have that nut on there. Okay. This way I can set that press up there. Run that 6-inch bolt through it. And then come up underneath with what I got to do without fear of the whole thing rocking back on me and falling out. I only use one toggle bolt in the front end of the press. It works beautifully. It stabilizes everything. It does keep it still. I do 40, 45, 9mm, 40 cal, 38 special. Don't have any rifle dies yet. When I do, that'll probably be just for the single stage rather than the 3 turret. Not that there's anything wrong loading rifle on a 3 turret. I just prefer to do the rifles on a single stage. That's me. Just put all your hardware back up. Now you've got an open table. Let's say you had to work on a rifle or tear another gun apart, you got this wide open table here. You know, it is 5 feet long, 42 inches high. It comes up, you know, it comes up pretty high on Fat Boy here. But if you got health issues, you're running trouble with diabetes, I suggest a table like this, just so you're not sitting down doing your reloading. Simply because if you're standing up, I find my sugar comes in lower in the morning. If I'm out here standing, for some reason it burns sugar to stand. I don't understand it all. Math, science, health behind it. It's not my neighborhood anymore. I can tell you what works for me. It's hit or miss with it, really. Big corporations are going to want you to take their pills and swallow this and swallow that because they say it all makes you all better. All honesty behind it, I don't see it does. I don't know if I'm going to finish this top. Either sand it or maybe just put a coat of stain over the top of it. I kind of like the raw wood feel myself. I also like the look. But if I'm drinking my coffee and I knock my coffee over, I know I'm totally screwed. So I'm thinking a neutral stain or something like that over the top of that. Y'all can chime in if y'all feel like. I have got this is another stain. It's homemade though. It's OD green. And just needs to be remixed. I don't know if I'll do something like that OD green, I don't know. I also have an OD green paint, enamel paint I can use to paint the top of it. I've also got a couple of different colors up there I can do. Black. I don't know. There's an oil-based stain, that's cherry. Like I said, I don't know. If I keep my coffee off the table, I might just leave it alone. If I see myself keep putting my coffee up here, I'm gonna run me a stain on it, protect it from anything that gets spilt or knocked over. Anyway. This has been a High Point Taurus production. What you see here, what you learn here, well, probably ain't a whole lot. And just some moron running off, you know, kind of making you feel better. But, like I said, in an earlier, one of my very first videos, I gotta do what I do for as little money as I can. This way, I can afford to have something later if I want it. This table actually cost me less than 30 bucks to do. The frame was old scrap that my dad had. He had built a frame that was 84 inches by this is 33 1/4. I think he had his about 46 wide and 36 tall. He was going to put it in his own shed, but he passed before. Actually got ill for 2 years before he could do any more work on the table. I just pulled the frame off it and cut it down to 5 feet. went to 33 and a quarter on the length. I kind of like that length. It's a good, it's a 3-foot reach, It gives you some depth to work with. It's also got some stuff out of your way. Plus, it's not in the way up here for anything. You can still get at your shelves, fairly easy. A lot of people do 2x4 joist joiners. I call them runners. Actual supports. I did 2x8. That's what I had in the lumber. But total cost was the sheet of plywood, which was like $22, and the bolts that I ran through to mount my presses, those were like $6. I got a couple of them, that way something should happen, one gets cross-threaded, whatever, I don't have to keep running back and forth. But it is a good sturdy table. I know a lot of them, but anyway. For cheap, inexpensive, quick table you can put up, that's not going to break the bank. Most of these guys build them 40, 30, 40, 50 bucks, 60 bucks. I had one guy show me one he did. He supposedly only spent 30 bucks on it, but I went pricing the same lumber he did, and I kept coming up with 80, 90, and in one situation it was 100 bucks for the lumber. Nah. I guess 4x4 legs came from a swing that my sister gave my mother and my father on an anniversary. I just cut the legs down to the height that I wanted. The 2x4s that were attached to the legs were all rotted out and shot, but the 4x4 posts were still pretty usable. If I get 15, 20 years out of it, I'm doing good. The frame itself was built by my father. All I did was cut it down to the size that I wanted. We had the 2x8s out in the shed. Well, I did cut those down to the size that I needed. But, overall, it's, some guys hop up. You can't hop up on my table. Well, you could, but you probably hurt yourself doing it. I don't want to. A lot of guys are sitting on a table. I have some 36-inch high tables, though. Let me see you do this on a 36-inch high table. Take a break. Just stop. You feel yourself getting tired, you feel yourself getting dizzy, whatever, you just... 36-inch table. I'm up. I'm still level with what I'm working with. That's what I like about it. It's sturdy as all get out, and harder than all whale snot. It'll hold all my presses, which is good. So, like I said, YouTube, Facebook, you guys choose. You guys are responsible with it. This is just one guy's real cheap run at a 5-foot loading table. Whether you use it or not, that's your own. That's not my affair. But for those of you that have back problems or diabetes or something, health issues that prevents you from them 36 and 39-inch tables, just bring it up to 41. It's a joy. I have no more back problems. My blood sugar's down to like 120 in the morning. It stays balanced. I'm not complaining about it. But if it hadn't been for the height of the table, I don't think any of that would have been possible. You choose, you be responsible. Alright, why have I opted to just keep mounting my presses onto this board and dismounting them? So I got room to work with this other stuff that I do. 2 hand-hewed walking sticks I'm making for my kids, just to give them something to march around the woods with. But how I'm doing that is This is a good friend of mine. I use them on all my wood products. Linseed oil. Give them a good coat, let them dry, come back and coat them again. They gotta dry for 24 hours in between coats. You can build up to as many as you want. Like I said, these are walking sticks for kids. I doubt they'll have them around that long. So I'm just, faking it until make my background on my kids. My kids will destroy everything they get their hands on. No matter how much I instill respect or beat them to take care of their equipment, it doesn't work like that. So, right now I done told one no, he can't have a certain TV out of a closet, and right now he's in there asking his mama for it because she just got home, even though I just said no. That's why I come out to my shed. Decided to take on these little projects. Say what you want, call me what you will. But I'm going to say, at least these little projects listen. No, I don't do anything special to them. Sanding, carving, engraving. I just give them the linseed oil. Pretty much as they'll drink in on that first coat. And I know a lot of old timers out there would appreciate this work. But I don't do this stuff for anyone else but me. Well, of course my kids. Everybody's appreciative is, well, we won't go there. I'm gonna tell you, this wood here was thirsty. I don't know what it is. That's a good chunk. Got the thirst. Some people varnish and shellac this stuff. The other ones turned out pretty good. They're still holding a lot of the original pearl to it. Original sheen. Dang. Actually just hand rubbing it in there a little bit. A couple inches at a time. A couple inches, about a foot or so at a time. And some think I should fill the cracks with wood or whatever. What's that? wood putty. You smear enough linseed oil on this thing. A little still wool between coats. She does alright, even raw, with the cracks. It's the only sign of wood or good wood is even if it cracks, it doesn't break, or some would call it splitting. You should cut the splitting off, or don't use it because it split. My father was into drying these things out. I do mean he dried them out. I went to linseed oil and he said, "Oh, that's not cured yet. It's got to get good and cracked." What the difference is, I got no clue. Peace pot and microdot.